0 December 1906. The All India Muslim League was founded. The Muslim League was an important topic in the Indian struggle for independence. One of the most prominent faces of the League, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, became the face of the two-nation theory which ultimately paved the way for the country's partition. Read more about the Muslim League in this article. It is an important part of modern history for the IAS exam. What happened? On the 30th of December 1906, the All India Muslim League, AIML, popularly known as the Muslim League, was founded in Dhaka, British India, now in Bangladesh. Muslim League formation, background. The communal idea that the Muslims are a separate nation was sown into the Indian political ethos first by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, a philosopher and Muslim reformist. Although he wanted Muslims to get educated and think in a scientific temper, he suggested aligning with the British rather than rebel against them, as most beneficial for the community. He had founded the Mohammedan Educational Conference in 1886, but this organization stayed away from politics and desisted from even discussing it as per its own code. On the 30th of December 1906, around 3,000 delegates attended a conference of the Mohammedan Educational Conference at Dhaka in which the ban on politics was removed and a motion was moved to form the AIML. The name was proposed by Nawab Khwaja Sir Salimullah Bahadur and seconded by Hakim Ajmal Khan. The AIML was the first Muslim political party of India. The idea was that the Congress Party was only catering to the needs of the Hindus. This was an erroneous idea since Congress always meant to include every community of the country and had many Muslim leaders as members. The founders of the Muslim League were Khwaja Salimullah, Viqayu-ul-Mulk, Syed Amir Ali, Syed Nabiullah, Khan Bahadur Ghulam and Mustafa Chowdhury. The first honorary president of the League was Sir Sultan Muhammad Shah, Aga Khan III. The AIML was essentially a party of educated elite Muslims, at least in the beginning. The party's chief aim was to promote and secure civil rights for Muslims. It espoused loyalty to the British government as a means to achieve more political and civil rights. The objectives of the League were to create among Muslims the feelings of loyalty towards the British government, to safeguard the political rights of the Muslims and to convey the same to the government, to prevent the rise of prejudice against other communities of India among the Muslims. Muhammad Ali Jinnah joined the League in 1913. When the Congress Party was opposed to the government and fighting for the gradual establishment of an independent India, the League propounded loyalty to the government. They, in fact, provided the government with a tool to fight the growing nationalism in the country. Even though partition of the country was not on the minds of Indian Muslims in the early years of the League, it came into the picture after 1930. Leaders of the League began the propaganda that Hindus and Muslims are not one nation and have separate cultures and identities although they have been cohabiting for centuries. In 1940, Jinnah gave a speech in Lahore in which he talked of the impossibility of living as one nation. In response to this, some members of the League who were opposed to the two-nation theory broke away from the party and formed the All India Jamhur Muslim League, AIJML. The AIJML later merged with the Congress Party. In 1937, the Muslim League was not able to form the government in any province in the provincial elections held that year as per the Government of India Act. Even in the 125 non-general constituencies out of which 59 were reserved for Muslims, the Congress managed to win 25 seats with 15 seats coming from the Muslim-dominated Northwest Frontier Province. In 1939, the Congress ministries resigned following the Viceroy's declaration that made India a party to the Second World War. The League urged Muslims to celebrate December 22 as Deliverance Day. The party, under Jinnah, spearheaded the campaign for Pakistan throughout the 1940s and was successful in its mission of dividing the country. The country was partitioned along communal lines along with independence in 1947. The League was dissolved on the 14th of August 1947. It continues to exist in various forms as political parties in Pakistan, Bangladesh and India. In India, the Indian Union Muslim League functions as a political party with its base in Kerala and ironically, aligns itself with the Congress Party. Also on this day 1922, creation of the Soviet Union. 1971, death of eminent scientist and father of Indian space program Vikram Sarabhai. 2006, hanging of Saddam Hussein, the former president of Iraq. Also read Indian Independence Act, Indian National Communalism. Frequently asked questions related to All India Muslim League. Why did the Muslim League want Pakistan? In 1946, many Muslims agreed to the idea of Pakistan, as a response to Congress's one-sided policies, which were also the result of leaders like Jinnah leaving the party in favor of Muslim League, winning in 7 of the 11 provinces. Prior to 1938, Bengal with 33 million Muslims had only 10 representatives, less than the United Provinces of Agra and Oudh, which were home to only 7 million Muslims. Thus the creation of Pakistan became inevitable and the British had no choice but to create two separate nations, Pakistan and India, in 1947. Why did Muslims demand a separate homeland? The League wanted a separate nation for India's Muslims because it feared that an independent India would be dominated by Hindus. What is Shimla Deputation? Shimla Deputation, organised by the Indian Muslim leaders, met the Viceroy Lord Minto in Shimla on 1 October 1906. The aim of the deputation was to win the sympathies of the British and address matters and interests concerning their community. Who opposed the partition of India? Khudai Khidmat leader Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan and Mahatma Gandhi, both belonging to the Indian National Congress, strongly opposed the partition of India, citing the fact that both Muslims and Hindus lived together for centuries and shared a common history in the country. East India Company officially acquired Darjeeling, February 1, 1835, this day in history. The 1st of February 1835. The East India Company acquired Darjeeling. What happened? On the 1st of February 1835, the East India Company acquired Darjeeling from the Chogyal, monarch, of Sikkim as a gift. In this edition of This Day in History, you can read all about how the company acquired Darjeeling, and also helped develop the now famous Darjeeling tea. Darjeeling acquisition, background. Up until the early 18th century, Darjeeling was a part of the Kingdom of Sikkim. Sikkim was ruled by the Chogyals of the Namgyal dynasty who were hereditary monarchs. The Gorkhas of Nepal invaded Sikkim continually and in 1780, they captured Sikkim. The Gorkhas went on capturing land in and around that region when they unwittingly overstepped onto the British East India Company's domains. There was a war between the British and the Gorkhas which the British won, and this led to the Treaty of Taitalia in 1817. As per this treaty, the Raja of Sikkim was restored his kingdom by the British. But this also meant that he would lose suzerainty to the British, especially in matters of foreign affairs. Again, issues arose between Sikkim and Nepal in 1827. This time, the British Governor-General Lord William Bentinck appointed two officers, Captain George Lloyd and J.W. Grant, to resolve the issue. In February 1829, Captain Lloyd spent a few days in Darjeeling, which was then known as the Old Gorkha Station of Darjeeling. Darjeeling was then a deserted place with hardly any inhabitants. The cool climate of the region impressed Captain Lloyd of the suitability of the place to be converted into a sanatorium, a place where ailing officers could go to recuperate. Lord Bentinck, when apprised of the proposal by the now General Lloyd, asked him to negotiate with the ruler of Sikkim. General Lloyd negotiated with Sikkim's monarch, and as a friendly gesture, Darjeeling was given to the company. In return, the company would pay the king an annual allowance of 3,000 rupees, which was subsequently increased to 6,000 rupees in 1846. The deed was granted on the 1st of February 1835, and it goes as follows. The Governor-General, having expressed his desire for the possession of the hills of Darjeeling on account of its cool climate, for the purpose of enabling the servants of his government, suffering from sickness, to avail themselves of its advantages, I the Sikkimpati Raja, out of friendship for the said Governor-General, hereby present Darjeeling to the East India, that is, all the land south of the Great Ranjit River, east of the Balasar, Kahel and Little Ranjit rivers, and west of the Rungpo and Mahanadi rivers. In 1839, the company brought Dr. Campbell as the first superintendent of Darjeeling. Dr. Campbell was a British resident in Kathmandu. He was to take care of administration and also the political relations with Sikkim. Campbell is largely considered as the person responsible for the development of Darjeeling. He introduced road and founded the Hill Corps to maintain law and order. He also brought immigrant cultivators to the area. Within 10 years, the population of the region rose from about 100 to 10,000. During this time, however, relations with Sikkim soured. There were conflicts on and off, and the annual allowance of 6,000 rupees was discontinued. In 1861, the Treaty of Tumlong made Sikkim a British protectorate. After this, there was peace in Darjeeling as well. Agriculture prospered with the introduction of terrace farming. More areas were brought under cultivation. New crops were introduced like orange, potato, cardamom, cinchona, and most famously, tea. It was Dr. Campbell who discovered that tea did well in this climate, and from 1847 tea nurseries were established by the government. Several tea plantations came up, and today, Darjeeling tea is famous throughout the world. Darjeeling is today a part of West Bengal state. Darjeeling district has a partial autonomous status within the state. It is one of the main epicenters of the Gorkhaland movement. Also on this day, 1865, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln signed the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution that abolished slavery in the USA. 1977, the Indian Coast Guard was established as a maritime law enforcement and search and rescue agency that protects India's maritime interests and enforces its maritime law. 2003, U.S. Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated during its re-entry to the Earth's atmosphere, killing all astronauts on board including Kalpana Chawla. See